In this lecture, we are going to create our very first Angular project. But before we do that, in order to create an Angular project, we need some tools and development environment to start with. So in this lecture, I will show you step by step how to set up the development environment for Angular project and how to create and run an Angular project. And this we are going to do in 4 steps. In the first step, we need to install Node.js on the development machine. Then we also need to install Angular CLI globally. Then we are going to create a new Angular project, and then we are going to compile and run that Angular project. So the first thing which we need to do here is we need to install the latest version of Node.js. A Node.js is a runtime environment for executing JavaScript code outside of the browser environment. Now in this course, we are not going to work with Node.js, but Node.js provides some tools that we need in order to build Angular projects. For example, we are going to install some packages from npm. And in order to do that, we need to install Node.js on our local development machine. So if you have not already installed Node.js on your machine, then head over to nodejs.org. And from here, you need to install the latest version of Node.js for your operating system. And here you can see the operating system will be automatically selected. So for example, I am using the Windows operating system. As you can see, it has been automatically selected here. And here you will see 2 options to download. The latest version, which is 20.2, and the long-term support version, which is 18.16. So I will suggest to download the long-term support version of Node.js, but you can also go with the current version. So in order to download the long-term support version or the current version, you can just click on these buttons. It will download the Node.js installer. You can see an MSI file has been downloaded. Let's wait for this download to complete. And once it is completely downloaded, just double click on this MSI file. It will open the installation wizard. Now we just need to follow the installation steps here in order to install Node.js on the local development machine. So here let's click on this next button. Here we need to accept the license agreement. So just click on this checkbox and again click on this next button. So this is the path where the Node.js will be installed. If you want, you can also change this path, but I will keep this default path here. I'll click on the next button. From here, you can select the features which you want to install. I will just keep the default features selected and I will click on the next button again. And then I will also check this checkbox where it says automatically install the necessary tools. Click on the next button and click on this install button. And it will start installing Node.js on the local development machine. So let's wait for this installation to complete. Okay, so the installation has been completed. Let's simply click on this finish button. Now this command prompt window has opened here which says install additional tools for Node.js. But right now I don't want to install any additional tools, so I will simply close it. Now just to re-verify if the Node.js has been successfully installed on my machine or not, what I can do is I can open command prompt. For that I can simply type cmd and this will open the command prompt. And here I can type node --version. So here we want to know which version of Node.js has been installed on this PC. If I press enter, it should show us the version of the Node.js which has been installed. So on my PC, this version 18.16 has been installed. So we can say that Node.js has been successfully installed on my machine. But if you type this command and if you don't get any version like this, instead you get some error message, that means Node.js is not successfully installed on your machine. So what you can do is, in that case, you can try reinstalling Node.js. Next, we are going to install Angular CLI. Angular CLI is a command line tool which we use to create new Angular project or generate some boilerplate code as well as create deployable packages. So we need this Angular CLI tool in order to go ahead and create a new Angular project. And in future, if we want to generate some boilerplate codes, that also we can do using Angular CLI. And to install Angular CLI, we are going to use this npm command to install this Angular CLI package. And that's why we installed Node.js first on our machine. Because there are some packages which we need in our Angular project and which we are going to install from npm. And in order to download and install packages from npm, we need to install Node.js on our machine. And that's why it was the first step. Now let's go ahead and let's type this command in order to install Angular CLI on our local machine. Once again, you need to go to command prompt if you're using Windows, or you need to go to terminal if you're using Mac. And here, let me first clear the console here. For that, we can type CLS and it will clear the command prompt, the terminal here. And now, in order to install Angular CLI from npm, we need to type npm install command. Okay, now we want to install this Angular CLI globally. For that, we need to specify -g or -global. That means we are telling that we want to install this package globally. If we don't specify this -g or -global, in that case, what will happen is currently we are in this directory, C users Manoj. So if I don't specify this global and if I install a package, that package will only get installed in this folder. So that package will not be accessible outside of this folder. But we don't want that. We want this Angular CLI to be accessible from anywhere in our machine. And for that, we want to install it globally. Now we need to specify the name of the package which we want to install. Here we want to install at Angular/CLI. Okay, and here after this we can also use this at symbol and specify the version of Angular CLI which we want to install. For example, 13 or 14 or something like that. Or we can also say at latest. In that case, the latest version of Angular CLI will be installed. So let's go ahead and let's run this command by pressing enter on the keyboard. And now it should install the Angular CLI globally on this machine. So the Angular CLI has been installed on my machine. Now, if you're using Mac OS, then in the terminal, before this command, you might need to use sudo. And when you use sudo there, at that time, you might need to provide your user ID and password in order to run this command. And then it will start installing the package on your Mac OS. So here, the installation of Angular CLI on my Windows machine is complete. Now, just to ensure that the installation was successful, we can run another command, ng space version. So if this command runs successfully and if it gives us the version of the Angular which has been installed, so you see we are not getting any error and we can see the version of Angular CLI that has been installed. We can also see the version of Node that has been installed, and we can also see the other Angular packages which has been installed here. Okay, so we can say that now Angular is successfully installed on this machine. So now we have installed the two important tools which we need in order to create an Angular project. So we have already installed Node.js on our machine and we have also installed Angular CLI on our machine. Now we can go ahead and we can create a new Angular project. Now, in order to create an Angular project, the first thing which we need to do is we need to create a folder where we want to create the Angular project. For that, here in the documents folder, I'm going to create a new folder and I will call it Angular Complete Course. And inside this folder, I'm going to create our new Angular project. So again, we'll go to command prompt or terminal if you're using Mac OS. Let me go ahead and let me clear the terminal here. Now, in order to create a new Angular project, first we need to move to the folder where we want to create the project. And for that, we can use command prompt or terminal if you're using Mac OS. And then we need to type this command, ng new and then the project name. So I want to create my Angular project inside this Angular Complete Course folder. So I will simply copy this path from here. Let's go to command prompt. There, let's type the cd command and then let's specify the path where we want to go. If I press enter, now we are in that folder. And it is this folder inside which we want to create our new Angular project. So here we can type ng new and then the project name. Let's call this project as Angular eCart. Basically, in this course, we are going to create an e-commerce application using Angular, and I'm going to call that application as eCart. So I'll simply call this project as Angular eCart. Let's press enter. And now we have to answer a few questions. First of all, it is asking, would you like to add Angular routing? Now, we have not talked about Angular routing yet. So for now, what I will do is I will simply select no. For that, I can type N and I can press enter. Then it is asking, which style sheet format would you like to use? Here, I want to keep things simple, so I'm going to use CSS as the style sheet. But we also have other options like SCSS, SAS, less, etc. So you can use down arrow to select the one which you want to use for your project. Here, I'm going to use CSS. Let's press enter again. And now it will start downloading the required packages and it will start creating the required files which we need in the Angular project. So you can see it is installing some packages from the npm, and since it is installing some packages from the npm, it might take some time in creating this project. So let's wait here for some time. Here Angular CLI behind the scenes is creating a new Angular project, and it is also adding new files and folders which is required for that Angular project. So now the project should be created. If we go to that folder, you can see a project called Angular eCart has been created. If I open this folder, inside that we have all the files and folders related to that Angular project. Now I will explain this project folder structure and what is the use of each of these files and folders and why do we need them in the Angular project later in this course. Let's now go ahead and let's now run the Angular project which we have just created, and let's run it in the browser by using another CLI command. So in order to run an Angular project, first we need to move to that project folder using command prompt or terminal if you're using Mac OS, and then we need to type ng serve command. So let's go back to command prompt. Let me clear the terminal here. So currently we are in this folder, Angular complete course. Inside this folder, we have another folder called Angular eCart, which is the project name, right? So from here, we need to move to that folder. For that, we can use the cd command, and the name of the folder is Angular eCart. If I press enter, now we are in that folder. And now here, we can type ng serve command. So what this ng serve command will do is, first, it will compile the Angular project. It will generate bundles for JavaScript and CSS files, and then it will open a live development server on which we can run this Angular project. So if I press enter here, you see here it is creating some bundles. Okay, so these bundles have been created. The project has been compiled. You can see this compiled successfully message. And now we can open this Angular project on localhost port number 4200. So Angular Live Development Server is listing on localhost port number 4200. We can simply copy this URL from here because it is this URL on which the Angular project is running. Let's go to browser. Let's open a new tab here. Let's paste this URL and let's press enter. And you see our Angular project is now running. So this is our very first Angular application. Now, before we start making changes to this project, you need to have a code editor where you will write your Angular code, and we are going to install a code editor in our next lecture. This is all from this lecture. Thank you for listening and have a great day.